Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into the Concrete Pavers Market.
Yeah, laying down the groundwork, you could say.
Huh, nice one. We've got this market research report, and the plan is basically to pull out the key stuff, the trends, the future, without, drowning you in data.
Exactly. Give you the roadmap, not every single pebble on the path.
So concrete pavers.
Hmm.
Just so we're all on the same page, what are we really talking about?
Well, you see them all the time. Think driveways, patios, walkways.
Right, those sharp-looking ones. Parking lots, too, public paths.
Exactly. And they're popular for good reason. I mean, they're tough. You can do a lot with them design-wise, and they're pretty low maintenance.
And it seems like how they look is becoming a much bigger deal now.
Oh, definitely. Aesthetics are really climbing up the priority list for people choosing paving.
Plus, there's this whole push towards greener materials, right? More sustainable options.
Yes, and manufacturers are definitely responding. We're seeing more permeable pavers, the ones that let water drain through, which is great for managing stormwater.
And those interlocking ones. You mentioned they help with cooling.
Yeah, they can contribute to reducing that urban heat island effect. Better drainage, sometimes better reflectivity. It's quite clever, actually.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put a number on this. How big is this market?
Right. So the report valued it around $17.9 billion US dollars in 2024.
17.9 billion, okay.
And it's projected to grow quite steadily. They're forecasting it to reach almost $27 billion. $26.88 billion, to be precise, by 2032.
Wow, okay. What kind of growth rate is that?
That works out to a AGR compound annual growth rate of about 5.2%, so solid, steady expansion.
5.2%. Okay, that's the trend we're digging into today. So what's really driving that growth right now, that $17.9 billion figure?
It's a mix of things. People want paving that lasts, obviously, but they also want it to look good and, offer some design options. Customization is big.
So less about just plain concrete slabs and more about style.
Exactly. That's pushing innovation towards modular designs, more decorative finishes, and those more advanced interlocking systems we talked about.
Makes sense. And looking ahead to that nearly $27 billion figure by 2032, what keeps the momentum going? Is it just more of the same?
Well, yes and no. It connects to broader trends. Think about all the urban beautification projects happening.
Right. Cities trying to look nicer, be more pedestrian-friendly.
Precisely. Plus, smart city developments often require updated infrastructure, including paving, and there's a lot of investment going into sustainable infrastructure overall. Pavers fit into all of that.
Okay, so it's tied into how our cities and towns are evolving. Let's break it down by region. Where's the biggest slice of the pie right now? Or in 2024?
North America had the lead in 2024, holding about 38% of the market.
38%. What's behind that?
A strong construction sector, definitely. Also, that push for more walkable, pedestrian-friendly spaces in cities and significant government investment in infrastructure projects.
Okay, and after North America?
Europe was next, around 30%. There, the focus seems particularly strong on decorative pavers and the permeable types, especially for urban redevelopment.
Interesting. And Asia Pacific?
They accounted for about 25%. That region's growth is really fueled by, rapid urbanization.
Makes sense. Lots of building going on.
Huge amounts. Plus, major investments in smart cities and infrastructure, especially in places like China, India, and Japan.
And are we seeing different kinds of innovation coming out of these regions?
The expectation, particularly for Asia-Pacific with its rapid growth, is continued innovation. Think pavers that are more weather-resistant, maybe higher strength for specific needs, and definitely pushing the sustainability angle.
Okay, let's shift gears to the companies making these pavers. Who are the big players? Is it a crowded field?
It's quite competitive, yeah. But you've got some dominant names. Marshall's Applied, Aggregate Industries, Brett Landscaping. Those are some key ones mentioned in the report.
And how much of the market do they control?
In 2024, Marshall's had the biggest share, around 18.2%. Aggregate Industries was next at about 12.3%, and Brett Landscaping had roughly 10.5%.
So together they hold a pretty significant chunk, almost half the market between the three of them.
They do. It shows their established presence.
And how are they staying on top? What are their strategies?
A lot of investment in R&D is crucial. They're constantly working on improving durability, the look and feel, and of course, the eco-friendliness of their products.
Makes sense. Keep innovating.
Right. And we also see strategic moves like mergers, acquisitions, partnerships, ways to expand their reach, get into new markets, or strengthen their supply chains.
And looking ahead, say to 2025, is that dominance likely to be challenged?
The report suggests, expect more competition. especially from players, maybe newer ones, who are really zeroing in on those sustainable and innovative angles. That's where the buzz is.
Okay, so concrete pavers are big, but how do they fit into the overall picture of hardscaping, compared to asphalt, natural stone, brick?
That's a really good question. In 2024, concrete pavers actually held about 45% of the entire hardscaping materials market.
45%. Wow, that's more than I would have guessed. So they're outperforming stone and brick.
According to this report, yes, and it's projected to nudge up slightly, maybe to 47% by 2025.
So what's the appeal? Why choose concrete pavers over, say, cheaper asphalt or classic natural stone?
It comes back to that blend of benefits. Durability is a big one. Low maintenance is another key factor. And then there's the design flexibility. You can get so many looks.
Right. Natural stone is lovely, but often pricier and maybe needs more care.
Exactly. Stone is often seen as the premium choice, but concrete pavers offer a really strong value proposition across the board.
And you're seeing them used everywhere now, right? Not just driveways.
No, yeah. Residential, commercial, municipal projects, driveways, sure, but also sidewalks, patios, plazas, public spaces, infrastructure projects. They're incredibly versatile in application.
Let's talk tech for a bit. What are the cool advancements happening in the pavers themselves or how they're made?
Well, the eco-friendly side is huge. We already mentioned permeable designs for better water drainage. That also helps reduce the urban heat island effect, basically. Helps keep cities a bit cooler.
That's a big deal for urban planning.
It is. We're also seeing more automation creeping into the manufacturing side that can boost efficiency, maybe improve consistency of the product.
Any standout innovations recently? Anything that made you go, huh, that's neat?
Yeah, a couple mentioned from 2023. Marshall's Pull-Up launched some carbon-neutral concrete pavers. That's a pretty big step.
Urban neutral, wow. Hey,
Aggregate Industries brought out some high-strength, very weather-resistant pavers aimed more at heavy-duty uses like ports or industrial areas.
built tough.
Right, and Brett Landscaping was mentioned for exploring smart paving, like integrating solar-powered LED lights into the pavers themselves.
Lights in the pavers for walkways or...
Yeah, safety, ambiance, demarcation. Lots of possibilities there. It's moving beyond just a surface to walk on.
Definitely. Okay, going back to the regions quickly. You said Asia Pacific had about 25% share, but was growing fast.
Yeah, fastest growth rate by far.
Yeah.
They held 28% in 2024, actually, and the projection is for that to hit 31% by 2025. That's an annual growth rate of about 8.5%.
8.5%. That's really motoring along, driven by that urbanization and infrastructure spending.
Primarily, yes. All the new construction, the smart city projects, it creates massive demand.
But North America and Europe aren't exactly shrinking, are they? They still dominate overall.
Well, absolutely. Combined, they still hold over half the global market. Their growth might be slower, but the base is huge. And factors like sustainability regulations and ongoing urban renewal keep demand strong there.
So different dynamics, but growth across the board, really. This sounds like a field with a lot of opportunity then. Where are the biggest openings?
Sustainable pavers, that seems to be the major flashing light. Environmental concerns aren't going away, regulations are getting stricter.
So demand for permeable, eco-friendly options is just going to keep rising.
Almost certainly. Governments are pushing for it, architects are specifying it, consumers are asking for it. It's a convergence.
Makes sense. What else creates opportunity?
Well, those smart city and general infrastructure projects we keep mentioning, they need paving solutions that are durable but also look good, fit the modern aesthetic.
Right, not just functional, but part of the city's design.
Exactly. And then you have the construction booms in emerging economies. Think India, China, Brazil. That's just adding sheer volume to the market demand.
Plus fixing up the old stuff. Roads, city centers.
Yeah, don't forget rehabilitation and redevelopment programs. They often involve upgrading paved areas, so that fuels demand too. It's multifaceted.
Okay, sounds very positive, but surely there are challenges too. What could slow things down?
Definitely. One big one is the initial cost. Installing concrete pavers is usually more expensive upfront than, say, pouring asphalt.
Why is that?
It often needs more specialized equipment, more skilled labor for the installation. That can be a barrier, especially for, smaller businesses or maybe municipalities working with tight budgets.
Yeah, that upfront investment can be tough. What other hurdles?
Maintenance is something to consider. While they are durable, they're not indestructible.
Right. What kind of issues pop up?
Things like cracks or pavers getting displaced over time, especially with heavy traffic or really harsh weather. Freeze-thaw cycles in colder climates can be particularly hard on them.
So they need some looking after.
Yeah, regular maintenance like sealing, maybe occasionally resetting pavers that have shifted, is important to keep them looking good and performing well long term. It's not zero maintenance.
Good point. And what about competition? We mentioned asphalt being cheaper.
Exactly. Asphalt is a major competitor, especially for large areas like roads or big parking lots where cost and speed are paramount.
Any other materials vying for a piece of the action?
Yeah, composite pavers are also emerging. They try to blend durability with maybe a bit more flexibility, potentially lower maintenance than traditional concrete in some cases.
So concrete paver companies need to keep innovating on cost and features to stay ahead.
Pretty much. They need efficient production and they need to keep offering those unique benefits, the aesthetics, the permeability, the durability to justify any potential price difference.
Okay, cost, maintenance, competition, the main headwinds. So, looking crystal ball time, what's next? What exciting developments are on the horizon?
There's some cool stuff coming down the pike regarding installation tech. We're expecting next generation slip-form pavers.
Slip-form pavers, what do they do?
They're machines that can lay down concrete profiles continuously, like curbs, barriers, or drainage channels, very efficiently and precisely. The example given was Verton Group's SP33i, shown at World of Concrete 2025.
Yeah.
It uses advanced controls, automation.
Aimed at reducing waste and labor cost.
Exactly, making the whole installation process smoother, faster, and more accurate.
Interesting. What else beyond the machines?
More integration of digital tech. Think GPS guidance for the paving equipment, real-time monitoring systems, again, boosting precision, maybe reducing the need for as much manual oversight.
And the pavers themselves, any material science breakthroughs.
This is where it gets really futuristic. Talk of ultra-durable concrete, maybe even self-healing concrete.
Self-healing, how does that even work?
Well, the idea is incorporating things like nano-engineered materials that can react to microcracks and essentially heal them, sealing them up before they become bigger problems.
Wow, that could dramatically change maintenance needs.
Potentially, yeah. Extend the lifespan significantly. It's still developing, but it's on the radar.
And finally, back to sustainability.
Yeah.
That trend continues.
Absolutely. The push for sustainable and permeable pavers will only intensify. Designs that help rainwater soak into the ground, reduce runoff, maybe even recharge groundwater.
Which helps with flooding and water management.
Precisely. It aligns perfectly with green building trends and regulations that are likely to get stronger.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Our deep dive today shows a concrete pavers market that's, well, growing steadily, fueled by urbanization, but also a big shift towards sustainability.
Right. With different speeds and focuses in different regions, but overall positive.
We've got a competitive scene, key players investing in R&D, but facing challenges from cost and alternatives.
And some really exciting tech coming through, both in how pavers are made and installed, and the materials themselves.
It really seems like a dynamic space, lots of opportunities, especially around those green innovations.
Definitely. Efficiency and sustainability look like the winning combo moving forward.
So here's something to leave you thinking about. With these advancements like self-healing concrete and widespread permeable paving, how might the actual infrastructure of our cities change over the next few decades? What could that mean for how we live and, for the environment around us?
That's a great question to ponder. The potential impact is huge.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.